Okay, sorry about that. So I started the recording. Let me repeat what I just said. In every element in our CSS or in our HTML, they follow a certain document flow. And what exactly a document flow is, basically, if I want to have some certain styles to this form, right, it inherits, okay, it inherits certain values from its immediate parent. Like in this case, the section, for example, if I have a section's width as 500 pixels, if I select the form which is the immediate parent, instead of 250 pixels of form, I can say inherit, and that will basically inherit the width of the immediate parent. So this inheriting the style from its immediate parent is what we call it as document flow. Okay, but if you end up in a situation like, for example, I want this menu navigation bar to be center of the page here, but to the left side. In that case, I will not be able to do it because, well, the only options I have is margin top, and then I can add 50 pixels. But when I do that, it will push back the entire form, which I don't want. So to do that, we have to break off this element or this navigation header off the document flow. And to do that, I'll simply select the header, and the styles that I have is float or position. Let's check out the first one. When I say float, I got two options, either left side or right side. You can place the float left or the right, like this. Since I am breaking off that element from the document flow, its immediate parent now becomes the body. Body is the first element, right? So whenever you encounter a float left and float right, that means it is broken off from the entire document flow, and its immediate parent now is the body. Okay, so if in this case, if I say float left, oops, left, then it breaks off the element and then it puts it on the left side. Now remember, I cannot place the element vertically. Float, the drawback of float, it breaks off from the document flow and puts the element either left or in right. It does not support vertical breakoffs. Okay, the problem with float is you can only do either left or right. You cannot do up or down. Okay, this is going to be one of the interview questions where they will ask you, how can you put two divs? In this case, I have a header and then let's say this section, right? How can you put two divs side by side? And the answer is use floats. I'll put the float left to the header and then I'll select the section and I can say float right, and both of them kind of are side by side. Okay, this is one of the interview questions where people will ask you under CSS, what is the style to put two divs side by side? And the answer is float left and float right. Since divs are block level elements, they take up the entire space. right? So you cannot put two divs right next to each other. You can say display inline, but that is not the question he is asking. He's just asking, like, how can you put two divs side by side, right? So simple one line answer is float left, float right. Okay, clear? Did you understand floats? Whenever you see a float, okay, whenever you see float in CSS, it breaks off from the document flow, right? Meaning, like, at that point, if I say float left, right, this is the guy. Now, if I say width to inherit, it's not going to work because there is no immediate parent for that header. Whereas the immediate parent in this page, the article is having, like, 1567 width, right? So this inheritance of any style is not going to work now because of the keyword float, right? If I uncheck this style, then its width is now inherited. But if I put this keyword now, this guy is broken off from the document flow, and now you can't inherit any styles. But now when it come back to my requirement, I want this entire navigation to be at the center. So both vertically and horizontally. I just don't want it to be horizontally placed. I want it to be placed vertically also. So what are my options now? At that point, we will come to this position. Okay, it too breaks off from the document flow, but it maintains its own document flow. Meaning, if I have this, if I select this section, for example, right? If I select this section, now I can use the keyword position, and inside the position, like whenever I say the position of this section to be something, then this guy will create its own document flow within its child, meaning the form will inherit the styles from sections, but the section will not inherit styles from article. I will show it in example. But there are several options, okay? There are several options for position. Namely, there are, like, one is position relative, then there is position fixed, then there is position absolute. Okay, we'll see one by one. Let's say I have this section and I want this section to break off from the document. Or better yet, let's sketch this header, right? Based on our example. I want this entire header to break off from the page. We'll see how position relative works. When I say position relative, nothing happened. Okay, it just kept the element as is. Position relative is equivalent. This is equivalent to saying that no position is needed. Okay, we have seen float none, right? So in float we have float left, we have float right, and then we have float none. Float none means I don't want any float, and if there are any floats, break it, stop it, right? Similarly, in positions we have a relative, which is which we say that, I don't want this element to be positioned at all. But when I say that whenever you see this keyword position, it breaks off from the document flow but maintains its own document flow. Okay, and I will show you what does this line mean. The second way of doing is position fixed. Okay, whenever I see position fixed like this, what will happen is that element gets fixed to the document. You see, I'm scrolling the page, everything else is scrolling, that particular element just stays there. Can you see it? I'm scrolling the form, that element stays there. Like I'll scroll more, right? That element stays there. So this is position fixed. This fixes the element at that position regardless of document flow. So now if I select this particular header, and if I go in here and I say, like, I want the width of this to be 500 pixels, okay, for example. Now the navigation, okay, will also inherit the width. Like, for example, instead of 500 pixels, let me change it to 100 pixels. Okay, the navigation, you see the nav, the child, the header has a width of 100 pixels. Now the child, I just said width to inherit, and it inherited the 100 pixels from its immediate parent. That means even though the position fixed, so now this header, this entire header is broken off from its document flow. Like the article has 1500 pixels. So if I go here and if I say width to inherit, right, it's not going to do that. So the header where it has the position keyword, that element broke off from the document flow, but its child is maintaining its own inheritance. Okay, ఏ ఎలిమెంట్ కి అయితే ఈ పొజిషన్ కీవర్డ్ ఉంటుందో ఆ ఎలిమెంట్ ఆ డాక్యుమెంట్ ఫ్లో నుంచి బ్రేక్ ఆఫ్ అయిపోతుంది. కానీ అతని లైక్ ఆ ఎలిమెంట్ కి చైల్డ్ అయితే ఉందో అండ్ దాట్ విల్ స్టిల్ ఫాలో డాక్యుమెంట్ ఫ్లో. తను సొంతంగా ఒక డాక్యుమెంట్ ఫ్లో మెయింటైన్ చేస్తుంది. సో దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఐ సెడ్, ఇట్ బ్రేక్స్ ఆఫ్ ఫ్రమ్ ది డాక్యుమెంట్ ఫ్లో, ఆర్ లెట్ మీ సే ఫ్రమ్ ది main document flow, but it maintains its own document flow. Okay, this is how the position works. Let me change that to 400 pixels, 450 pixels. Okay, and this will work. And position fixed means it fixes its position, right? So this is what position fixed is. And now let's finally look into position absolute. So let me re-inspect element, select header, and now if I say position absolute, position absolute breaks off from the document flow, exactly same as the float left in this case, right? But now I had the power, or I have the flexibility to mess or to put this element anywhere in the document, anywhere. And to do that, so this breaks off from the document flow and can be placed both vertically and horizontally using top, bottom, left, right. Okay. Now I can say that this element should have a top of 100 pixel, and I can keep on increasing that like this. And let's say 250 pixels is what I want. Okay. Now you see that I have placed it in the position that I want. Or I can have a left and then I can add 1 pixel and I can keep on adding it. So you'll see where I'm putting that element to. 90 pixels like this. Okay. If I say 0, it will put to the extreme left. And right, I can have 90 pixels. Like this. Okay. You can at a time have, so the way it works is you can at a time have either top or bottom and either left or right. You cannot combine the both. You cannot say top and bottom. It's not going to work. It will only take the top. Similarly,
Seeker?
if you say left and right, it will only take the left one. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, can you please explain the specific difference between, see, when the position is fixed, it doesn't change, right, at all?
It fixes the position there.
Yeah, that's it. So, but I want the difference between absolute and fixed. What is the means specific difference? Relative is according to that div or the section or the parent ones, and the fixed. I'm a bit confused between
Okay.
relative, fixed, and absolute.
Yeah, I'll explain again.
Thank you.
So before that, but understand, you can always have top or bottom. Okay, you can have either left or right. You cannot have both, because if I try to give both left and right, the first preference is given to left, as you can see here. Even though I have right as 90, it will still put the element on the left side. So you either deal with this or you deal with right. You cannot have both. And that puts that element to the desirable position that I want. Okay. So I'm repeating again. See, if I want to break off an element and my requirement is that I want to put that element both vertically and horizontally in the page, in the website, then the only option that I have is the position. What position will do is it will break off from the document flow, and with the help of some helper styles like the selected ones, I'll be able to put the element anywhere in the page. Okay. నాకు నాకు రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఎట్లా వచ్చిందంటే నేను ఆ ఎలిమెంట్ ని ఎక్కడో ఒక చోటున పెట్టాలి. ఇట్ షుడ్ నాట్ ఫాలో ఎనీ ఫ్లో. అయితే నాకు వచ్చేసి ఒకటే ఒక ఆప్షన్ ఉంది, అండ్ దట్ ఈస్ పొజిషన్. ఓకే. పొజిషన్ వాడి దాంతోపాటు ఇంకా కొన్ని హెల్పర్ స్టైల్స్ ఉన్నాయి. అవి వాడితే నాకు ఐ కెన్ పుట్ దట్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఎనీవేర్ ఆన్ ద పేజ్. ఓకే. నా పొజిషన్ ఏం చేస్తుందంటే అది డాక్యుమెంట్ ఫ్లో నుంచి బ్రేక్ ఆఫ్ అయిపోతుంది మొత్తం. సో నా ఇప్పుడు ఆ డాక్యుమెంట్ ఫ్లో నుంచి బ్రేక్ ఆఫ్ అంటే మీరు ఇప్పుడు విత్ ఇన్హెరిట్, లేకపోతే ప్యాడింగ్ ఇన్హెరిట్, లేకపోతే మార్జిన్ ఇన్హెరిట్ అట్లా ఏదైనా చెప్తే అవి ఏం పనికిరావు. అది మొత్తం డాక్యుమెంట్ ఫ్లో నుంచి బ్రేక్ ఆఫ్ అయిపోయింది. సో ఏమవుతుందంటే it will create its own document flow. ఏదైతే ఎలిమెంట్ కి మన పొజిషన్ అని కీవర్డ్ వాడామంటే దానికి దాని సొంతంగా ఒక డాక్యుమెంట్ ఫ్లో ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, ఆ ఎలిమెంట్ కి ఏదైనా చైల్డ్స్ ఉంటే ఆ చైల్డ్ వచ్చేసి ఆ ఎలిమెంట్ త్రూ డైమెన్షన్స్ ఆర్ మార్జిన్ ఆర్ ప్యాడింగ్ ఆర్ విడ్త్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ఇట్ ఇస్ అవి ఇన్హెరిట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. సో position breaks off from the main document flow, but it maintains its own document flow indirectly. Okay, now position fixed అంటే ఏంటంటే మనం ఆ ఎలిమెంట్ ని ఏదైతే ఎలిమెంట్ ని మనం పొజిషన్ ఫిక్స్డ్ అని అన్నాం ఆ పొజిషన్ ఆ ఎలిమెంట్ అయిపోతుంది ఏమైతుందంటే అది డాక్యుమెంట్ ఫ్లో నుంచి బ్రేక్ ఆఫ్ అయిపోయింది. ఓకే, ప్లస్ ఇట్స్ స్టేస్ దేర్. If I don't mention anything, if I don't mention the top, bottom, left, right, it will stay there. Okay, like in this case, for example, I'll select this guy, this is the header, and I said position fixed. Now when I say position fixed, I did not use any helper classes, top, bottom, left, right? So that guy stays there where initially it was placed. Okay, ఈ పొజిషన్ ఫిక్స్డ్ వాడకుండా ముందర అది ఇక్కడే ఉండేది కదా. సో బేస్డ్ ఆన్ ద డాక్యుమెంట్ ఫ్లో the element was there. So if I simply say position fixed, even though it's broken off from the document flow, it stays there, and it stays there indefinitely. No matter what is going on inside the page, that guy will stay there as is. So now if I say, for example, top 0, okay, and then I'll say left, I'll say 500 pixels. It brings it, or almost like 700 pixels, for example. No, it's too much. 650. Nope. 600. 550. Okay. When I say like this, that element stays at the top center of the page. Now when I scroll, it's not going to, it's going to be staying there. Moreover, let's say I get this and I say width of this header, I want it to be 1500 pixels. Did I spell it right? Width. Okay. Okay. You see the width. How is it going? Like I don't know if you can make out. Can you make out the blue? It goes off the screen because I said left to start from there, right? That's how it works. So let me change that to 500 pixels, and then let me say background to have white color like this. Now what happens is, you see that element has white color, and that anything which goes beyond it will hide it, kind of. Can you see it? So that is how the position fixed works. You can still use the top, left, right and bottom. Instead of saying top, I'll say bottom 0 now. It will place that element at the bottom of the page. So as I'm changing this, no matter how the page is, it will stick to the bottom of the page. No matter what happens, it will stick to the bottom of the page, like no matter what the page is. That is what the position fixed means. Okay, it will get fixed to that position and it will be staying there. That is how the position fixed works. Okay, the next one is position absolute. Position absolute, inspect element, header. Position absolute breaks off. Okay, position absolute breaks off exactly same as how the fixed works. It breaks off from the document flow, but it doesn't get fixed to that position. Meaning I can scroll down, see, that element is not fixed there. Okay, so like that means if I go there, if I go here and I say like, I want width to be 500 pixels, I want the top to be 0, and then I want left to be 550 pixels, and background is color white. When I say that, the element is not fixed anymore, like it's not fixed, but I have the power to place that element wherever I want. The problem with fixed is it fixes there, it gets fixed there. And sometimes I don't want that element to get fixed. Like for example, I want this welcome to my website to be at the center of the page, right? Like I want this navigation to be center of the page. Like GitHub, for example. This entire top row is the header, but it's not fixed, you see. I'm not like I can scroll down and that element goes off. I don't want that element to get fixed. But if I select that entire element, which is this guy, if I select this guy, okay, and if I simply say position fixed like this, then top is 0. I have some paddings. Do I have anything else? I don't see it. Okay, when I say that, I don't know if you can see it. The element is there. Can you see that? Or let me say left. I don't know, 550 pixels. No, it's too much. 450 pixels. 350 pixels. 300 pixels. Okay. You see, the element is there. It's positioned at the top.
Yeah, when you
and it's fixed.
scroll up or down, it stays over there, right?
Yes. So that
Yeah, so
element
it doesn't
is
move
fixed.
when you scroll down or up. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So that position is fixed for that element. And it's going to be there regardless of whatever you do. I
Okay.
can make use of top, left, bottom, right and put that element anywhere I want. Bottom of the page, bottom right, top left, anywhere or in the center. But that element gets fixed. It's not going to move from there. No matter what events going on, like scrolling or clicking or anything, that element will be fixed. That is what the position fixed is. Okay. 99% of the times we use fixed positionings for navigation header or navigation footer, because no matter what page you are in, I want the user to see the navigation at all times so that they can go back and come forward. Like at this point, if I scroll down, right, I don't know if the user wants to go back, how will he, like he has to completely scroll to the top. Okay, so some users, they don't like it. So they want this to be available at all times. Like if I make it to fixed, now if I'm at the bottom of the page, or let me do this, let me increase the height of the body, for example. Instead of 670 pixels, I'm saying like this. Come on, what happened? Why you're not taking it? Let me make this section height to be 1600 pixels. Okay, and let's say the header was absolute. Now if I'm scrolling at the bottom, like I'm here at the bottom, okay, you see I'm at the bottom, so that is like the bottom of the page. Now if I want to go back or go forward, like go to the next page, all I have to do is I have to scroll back to the very top to click this navigation. Some users, they don't like it. So if I have position fixed, what happens is that element stays there at all times. I can add a border bottom of 1 pixel solid so that you guys can see. It's kind of a little neat. So if I like this, if I'm at the very bottom of the page, I don't have to scroll back. I can simply click like this and go to my next page. So position fixed is usually kept for elements like navigation or the footer. Okay. Now the position absolute is kind of like float, where you can put the element anywhere in the page. What happened? Oops, I clicked on the mail. Okay, the header, where is the header? Article header. Position absolute, okay, breaks off the element, and then now I can use top, and then I can say left to put that element anywhere I want in the page. Okay, but there is a small catch with position absolute. Position absolute, even though it creates its own document flow, this position absolute completely relies on position relative. Meaning, let's say I have this header, right? Okay. Now, when I say position absolute, just this header has position absolute. That means it has broken off from the document flow, and its immediate parent is now the body of the page. So with respect to the body, the top and the left works, right? But now let's say I want this element, this header, to be absolutely positioned with respect to the section, not to form, not to body. So that means when I say top 0, I want this element to come here. See, you see the section where section starts? It starts where the form starts, right? The like this part. Do you see this part, like this border? So the blue top starts from there. That means I want my element to come here. I want to place my top 0. When I say top 0, it should come like this, right? Because right now when I say top as 0, ఇప్పుడు నేను top 0 అని చెప్తున్నానంటే అదేంటంటే ఇమీడియట్ పేరెంట్ కి టాప్ కి కనెక్ట్ అయిపోతుంది. ఇప్పుడు హెడర్ కి ఇమీడియట్ పేరెంట్ వచ్చేసి బాడీ, ఎందుకంటే అది పొజిషన్ అబ్సల్యూట్ చెప్పేసినానంటే అది బ్రేక్ ఆఫ్ అయిపోయింది మొత్తం డాక్యుమెంట్ ఫ్లో నుంచి. అండ్ నౌ ఇట్స్ ఇమీడియట్ పేరెంట్ ఈస్ ద బాడీ. బాడీ చూడండి ఎక్కడి నుంచి స్టార్ట్ అవుతున్నదో, ఆ బ్లూ సెక్షన్స్ ఉంది కదా పైనుంచి సెంటర్ లో, అది అక్కడి నుంచి మొదలవుతున్నది. సో అందుకే హెడర్ టాప్ 0 అంటే అక్కడ వచ్చేసింది అనమాట ఆ ఎలిమెంట్. కానీ సెక్షన్ చూడండి ఎక్కడి నుంచి మొదలవుతున్నది. సెక్షన్ నాకు వచ్చేసి ఇక్కడ వేర్ ద ఫార్మ్ బార్డర్ ఉంది కదా, పైది బార్డర్ టాప్ ఉంది కదా చూడండి, ఫార్మ్ ది 2 pixels. దట్ ఈస్ ద టాప్. Like that is my space where from which my section starts. So అప్పుడు నేను ఈ టాప్ 0 అని చెప్తే ఆ ఎలిమెంట్ వచ్చేసి అక్కడ ఉండాలి. So to do that, I can go to section and then just say position relative. You see that entire header jumped down. That's because this position absolute will take the dimensions of the section now. So let's say section ki oka width undi which is 500 pixels. Okay. ఇప్పుడు నేను left 0 అని చెప్పాను అనుకోండి, చూడండి ఏమవుతున్నదో. It is trying to put that position, that absolutely positioned element will be within the confinement of this section, because this section has the keyword relative. So position absolute depends on position relative. Okay, if I increase the width like this, or if I have something like margin top to be negative 10 pixels, right? You see the position absolute is also moving with it. Or if I'm increasing the margin top, you see the position absolute is also moving with it. So even though it has broken off from the document flow, it depends on the position relative. If it finds a position relative anywhere within its parent, meaning ఇప్పుడు ఈ పొజిషన్ రిలేటివ్ వచ్చేసి ఈ సెక్షన్ కి ఉందన్నమాట, రైట్? ఇప్పుడు ఈ హెడర్ లో పొజిషన్ అబ్సల్యూట్ ఉంది. ఇట్స్ ఇమ్మీడియట్ పేరెంట్ ఆర్ in the flow of parents, section is one of its parent. This header is not. This header and this section, they are at the same level. See. So ఇప్పుడు సెక్షన్ నుంచి నేను పొజిషన్ రిలేటివ్ తీసేసాను అనుకోండి, ఇంకా ఈ హెడర్ కి పెట్టాను అనుకోండి, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, it will not work because this header is not a child of this header. Both are different. Let me show you in HTML. See, this header and this section, they are at the same level, meaning they are not child, they are child or parent, they are siblings to each other. Okay, so if I have this header position absolute, okay, that means it will depend on article, it will depend on section, or it will depend on this article. This header is not in the parent-child flow. Okay, so that's why position relative and position absolute, that is the difference.
So can you show me the CSS of both the headers? How you differentiating both of the headers? Like, are you giving an ID or the name, or what is
nothing
that?
Okay, let me say that then. Okay, let's right now I don't have it. ID header is, let's say, main header, for example, or main heading. Okay, and this guy has ID of nav heading. Okay, this section is, let's say, main section, for example. So if I have my nav heading as position absolute, okay, it will look for its immediate parents, article, section, then this article, and then body. Main heading, the ID main heading, header with ID main heading is not anywhere connected to the parent-child relation. So if I have position relative to this header, it's not going to make any difference for this header main nav heading. Okay, because section and this header, they are at the same level, they are siblings to each other, they are not parent-child. Clear? Ardhainda? Do you want me to repeat again?
Yes, no, got it, absolutely got it. So you're differentiating with main heading and main navigation heading. Yeah, got it completely.
Okay, so the thing is, position absolute, even though it breaks off from the document flow, it will look for immediate parent from which you want this position absolute to work from. And the keyword for that is position relative. So position relative works two ways. It says that I don't want to use any relative positioning to that element, and position absolute depends on the position relative flow. దాని అర్థం ఏంటంటే ఇప్పుడు ఈ ఆర్టికల్ ఉందనుకోండి, లేకపోతే ఈ సెక్షన్ ఉందనుకోండి, ఓకే, ఈ సెక్షన్ కి నేను పొజిషన్ రిలేటివ్ అని చెప్పాను అనుకోండి, దాని అర్థం ఏంటంటే there is no position for this section at all. This section follows the document flow. ఓకే, కానీ దాని లోపల వచ్చేసి ఆ హెడర్ ఉందంటే దానికి పొజిషన్ అబ్సల్యూట్ అని చెప్పాను. An element which is inside the section, I said at position absolute. So position relative undan section, a section position relative undan kada. Now that will play two roles. One, it tells the browser that this particular section has no positioning at all. Okay, and the second role is that it's going to act as the parent for this position absolute now. Now the section starts at the top left here, okay, and the section ends here. See, before I am bottom. So if I select this position absolute element, I will say bottom 0. It will put it there. Okay, ఎట్లా అంటే ఇప్పుడు నాకు ఈ ఎలిమెంట్ ఉందనుకోండి ఇట్లా, ఓకే, God, I am a horrible drawer. నాకు ఇట్లా ఉందనుకోండి ఎలిమెంట్ ఒకటి, ఓకే, దిస్ ఈస్ సెక్షన్. నా హెడర్ వచ్చేసి ఇట్లా ఉందనుకోండి ఇనిషియలీ, ఓకే, and this is my body. This green part is my body, like this. Okay, if I say the red color to be position absolute, okay, and then I said top to be 0 and left to be 0, what will happen is it will treat the body as its immediate parent because it did not find anywhere position relative keyword. It did not find this black color to be position relative. So what happens is it will put that element here like this. It will come here. Okay, and if I say bottom 0, then it will come to the body level like this. Okay, but if I say that my black color is position relative, at that point what will happen is this red color is now positionally absolutely the position of that red color is within this dimensions only, within this black red color, the black square or rectangle. So whenever I say bottom 0, it will come here. Instead of going to the body, it will come here. And then if I say right 0, bottom 0, then it will come here. So what I'm trying to get at is, with position absolute, we have the power to put that element anywhere in the body or anywhere within its immediate parents based on their dimensions. समझ में आया ये डायग्राम के हिसाब से? बॉडी जो है वो ग्रीन कलर में है. लेट्स से मेरे पास एक सेक्शन है जिसका कलर ब्लैक है और मेरे पास एक हेडर है जिसका कलर है रेड. अगर सेक्शन को पोजीशन रिलेटिव हमने नहीं कहा है तो क्या होगा कि पोजीशन एब्सोल्यूट जो है वो हेडर को वो सीधा बॉडी से कनेक्ट हो जाएगा, क्योंकि उसको अपने पेरेंट्स में कभी पोजीशन रिलेटिव मिला ही नहीं। तो वो क्या है, एकदम टॉप लेफ्ट में रख देगा एलिमेंट को, या एकदम बॉटम लेफ्ट में रख देगा। बट अगर मुझे वो एलिमेंट एक पेरेंट के अंदर ही रखना है, उसका डायमेंशन एक पेरेंट्स के अंदर ही रखना है, तो क्या होगा, वो उसको लिए फिर मुझे उस एलिमेंट या उस पेरेंट पे पोजीशन रिलेटिव रखना पड़ेगा। सो पोजीशन एब्सोल्यूट जो है, मैं उसका पोजीशन या तो बॉडी के अंदर रख सकता हूँ या तो किसी एलिमेंट के अंदर ही भी रख सकता हूँ। उतनी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी दी गई है मुझे। क्लियर? अर्थమైందా? समझ में आया? Did you guys get it? The position relative and position absolute and how important they are. Because in any project, you will basically be asked to place the elements in such a way that they have to be at the center, they have to be at the bottom right. That is fine. Let's say I have two elements here, right? For example, I have like two elements here, one black section and another yellow section. Now, if I don't mention position relative to black or yellow, and if I simply say position absolute, chances are this red element might come here. If I say right, it has both top and right. Chances are it will come on top of that yellow element. This will break the element, right? I mean, this is like you're going to make it something weird looking. Like for example, I have, let's just say quickly, I have one more form. Okay, style, I have width of, let's say, 200 pixels. I have height of 300 pixels, and then border 2 pixels solid, and the color is another, like for the timing, let's say red. Okay, I have something like this. For example, I refresh the page, the form will come at the bottom, I guess, because of this. Yeah, what I'll say is float right, and then this form I'll say style float left. Okay, save it and I'll refresh. Okay, this is okay for me. Now if I have this header, right, if I select this header, if I simply say position absolute, now this element, you see, it is overlapping to my first form, right? It is coming on top of it. It's kind of breaking my page. And if I say right 0, now this falls under that form. Now it is breaking that form, right? I don't want that. I don't want that to happen. But what I want is, I want this entire header to come with inside this red color form, right? Okay, like so I have this section, right? This section, display, not display. If I say position relative, right, and then display inline block, I have to say width of 1000 pixels, like this, let's say. So this is my section, right? Now, since this guy has position, like if I don't say relative, it goes to the complete right. It goes to the body. It applies this position absolute and right is 0 to the body. I don't want that. I want to, within that section, So I'll make that position of that section to be relative, and then the right will have some values like increasing to 100 pixels, let's say.
Srikar?
Yeah, just a second. Like this, for example. So what I'm trying to get at is, like, you have two elements. One, let's say, blackish color and one is yellowish in color. If you simply say red color to be position absolute, it will take the body as its immediate parent, and then it will overlap, or it will put on top of these elements, and that might break, that might not look good. So let's say you want to place that red element only within that black section. At that point, you need to make that black section to position relative, and then the position absolute will be with respective or with relative to that position relative element. Yeah, go ahead. What was
Yeah,
it?
so can you go to the other page where the red box is there?
Mm-hmm.
So if the navigation bar parent is this red box, then it goes inside the red box, right? As we were speaking.
No. This red is a form.
Okay, if we put the navigation bar, so as you said that I want to get the entire navigation bar into that red box, which is a form. If I'm making this navigation bar as a child of that form,
Mm-hmm.
then and I do it relative to that form, that absolute form. So then the entire navigation bar goes into that. And if we do that, uh, it as an responsive page, we will get a small icon type thing, right? When we click,
We
it
are
will
okay.
slow down.
First of all, we are not talking about responsive right now. So
Okay, okay.
let's not bring that up. But yeah, I mean, if that header is the child of the form,
Mm-hmm.
and then if I say that form to be position absolute, position relative to that form, sorry.
Relative, relative to the form, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, got it, got it. Yeah.
the position to that form is position relative.
Mm-hmm.
So if I refresh, you see that
Exactly.
element. Okay, the header is not this is not position absolute right now. Position absolute is this, right? Now if
Mm-hmm.
I say top, oops, I have caps on, sorry. Now if I say top to be 0, and then when I keep on increasing, or when I say bottom 0, let's say, that is a good example, it will be within that red box,
Exactly, got it.
right? It will be,
Mm-hmm.
come on, it will be within that red box. Of course, you can have negative values and go beyond the red box, but the dimensions are within that red box now, right? Now if I say
Mm-hmm.
right 0 or left 0 or some anything like that, it is within that confinement or within that dimensions of that position relative element. Clear?
Yeah, clear.
అందరికి అర్థమైందా? Did you guys get it? How can we keep the element vertically using position, using the keyword top? So let's say I don't have position relative to this guy, right? Okay, and I select this header. Okay, the top keyword, you can keep on changing this. Can you see it? Manor, can you see that? I can put it like this, 200 pixels from the top. This is how you put it. Let me change left. Now when I say left 0, it will put that element completely left side, right? I will increase it. So it is kind of, you can say, kind of margin, but margin adds some white spaces. This one doesn't put white spaces. It puts that element there. So now you see I have my element somewhere here. This is how my element looks. right? So this is how you can both vertically and horizontally place the elements. I don't want this form now. Get out, get out, get out. Save it. Clear?
Srikar,
Yes.
so does this, I mean, like vertical, if we have vertical navigation bar, I mean, I don't think we may encounter vertical navigation bar, but so does this position can work in vertically if we have the navigation bar vertically?
It depends on the requirements. Since it is,
Okay.
since you're saying, okay, so you're saying that I have this header as position absolute, right? And then its width is set to 10 pixels. So
Yeah,
that it's
exactly.
something like that, or let me increase it a little so that OpenShrieker looks good. Okay, right? So 150 pixels, 148 pixels. Okay, let's say something like that, right? And then you want to keep that to the vertically centered, or like something like that. So you can say position top. Why my caps is on? And then you can say 100 pixels, and then keep on
Okay.
adding the values like this,
Yes, got it.
right? So 250 pixels from the top is what you're looking for. But now, as I said, when it comes to navigation, it will not look good because if I'm scrolling the page, that navigation goes away.
Yeah.
So in your case, you should be using fixed position. And
Okay.
what happens is it stays there. That is my navigation kind of. That's why since you will not see horizontal scrolling, you usually have a vertical scrolling, right? People,
Yes.
that's why people don't like vertical navigation. They like horizontal navigation. Because when you're scrolling like this, you see the I am at bottom,
Mm-hmm.
that element, you see that overlaps now. Do you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why people don't like vertical navigation. They like it the horizontal navigation because of that.
Yes.
Because you can vertically scroll, but horizontal scrolling is not there, so it will not overlap on each other like how it's overlapping here.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
Clear, guys? Adno today's class? Today's class was purely on document flow and how to break the document flow. This also this is very important phenomenon or feature in CSS, and people will ask you interview questions like why or what happens when I say float, or what happens when I say position absolute. And the simple answer to that is it breaks off from the document flow. It will no longer inherit any dimensions from its immediate parent. But if you are dealing with positions, then it will have its own, it will have its own document flow. And absolute positioning depends on relative positioning. If it doesn't find it, then body will be its immediate position relative. And fixed positioning basically fixes the element indefinitely in that location. We can manipulate, you can say we can manipulate the, the movement, or where do I want to put that element using top, left, bottom, right. Clear? Any doubts? If you don't have any doubts, then that's it for today. Okay, there is no assignment today. We'll discuss more tomorrow. Okay. Okay, guys.
Srikar,
Yes.
Srikar, నాకు కోడ్ పంపిస్తారా? It's a personal request so that I can follow you while you're doing the same thing. ఇప్పుడు
What do you
దాకా
mean?
ఉన్న కోడ్.
It's already there, no? It's into GitHub. I'll be pushing my code here.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
this hot dog. So see, whenever you are creating fork, I don't know if you have created the fork yet.
లేదు చేయలేదు శ్రీకర్ ఇప్పుడు దాకా నేను చెప్పాను కదా వీడియోస్ చూసాను I was stuck in
Okay.
first video.
So what I'm saying is people are creating, like, all you need to do is create your GitHub account, and then
I have it.
Okay, then go to this URL, hotdog1987 UI October
Okay.
2016 class, and then
Okay.
fork from this.
Okay.
Okay. When
Member.
you fork it,
Okay.
what will happen is, like, let's say I have chosen Bhumika's repository. You will get all the code that I have in your machine.
Sure, definitely.
And follow the first class. Look at the recording from the first class. I have discussed the Git in detail. I have showed the commands and all that. So
Sure,
you'll be getting the latest code from
Definitely.
what my class has.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll be pushing my changes right now as I speak. So UI cd UI October, cd UI October, clear git status, git add dot, git commit -m, class on CSS position, git pull origin master, git push origin master. Okay, now if you refresh, you will see 10/19/2016 folder. Now this guy has today's code. Okay. Oh yeah, in today's class I did not write any CSS in the CSS file. I added on the browser itself. So yeah, I don't know how do I do it. Sorry, what? Push the notepad also. This guy, okay. At the right location, yes I am. Let me add section 90 main section. Go here in the CSS and let's say main section has position relative, and then what is the ID on this? Nav heading to be position absolute. It has what did I say, top to be 0, left to be, I don't know, 550 pixels, and then background to be white color. Finally, I have this main heading. Let me get that ID. I want it to be position fixed. Top is 0, and then same, everything is same. Oops. If I save it, if I refresh, okay, that is correct. If I go back, you see the positioning, it places one element on top of the other. Can you guys see it? Okay, top 10 pixels and like this 50 pixels. See, with position relative I can also deal with tops. I don't know if you observed it. With position relative, you can also deal with tops. Okay, even though it's saying that, you know, I don't want what do you call, I don't want this element to be positioned anyways, you can still deal with tops and lefts and rights, and so that is the beauty of what do you call, that is the beauty of this position relative. So git add dot, I'm adding the notepad, adding the notes on CSS position, git push origin master. Okay, you will have that notes, you will have the styles. At the bottom you'll see the 3 styles. Okay, yeah, I'll be uploading the recordings for today's and yesterday's together. Okay, any questions? If not, then that's it, guys. Let's meet tomorrow, and then we'll go from there. Okay,
Thank you, Srikanth.
chalo sir. Okay, have a good day. Bye bye, guys.